I'm sorry, what's that you say? Why am I doing an Armoured Thanos video now? What's that? You were excited for this figure 8 months ago when it originally released? What's the point of doing any Armoured Thanos videos now? To be honest, it's just arrived, and this is probably the longest I've had to wait from first batch to second batch for a figure, and that's including the Spider-Man Homecoming suit. But he has arrived, and because all the hype has sort of died down and he's no longer this big massive, oh my god, it's just dropped, wow, all that kind of stuff has appeared, it's allowed me to sit back, think about the figure as a whole, and do a showcase video explaining what I like and what I don't like the self-entitled butthead that I am. Okay, no unboxing, don't feel the need to. I've literally just pulled everything out of the packaging and placed it on the shelf in front of you now. And my first impressions taking him out of the box was I wasn't looking forward to it. Enthusiasm for him had died down, what, 6 months ago with me, and you know, after emailing KG Hobby quite a few times, guys, when's this going to release, when's this going to release, I assigned myself to either never getting it and then cancelling my order, or, you know, eventually getting it at some point. Now initially they announced that this was going to release first and second quarter of 2020, and they weren't that far out, if I'm honest, if they were, you know, the end of the second quarter 2020. But the truth is, with the way everything's been going in this year, it's no surprise that everything's delayed, and this is just no exception. But now that he's here, I actually opened up the box and I started to have a look at him. I actually really understand why people were gushing about it now. The details in the armor are amazing. All the little paint scratches and the paint chippings are just exemplary. I'll zoom in a second, show you. But also some of the paint apps in the armor, the different colorings, the sort of fading, the smoke damage, the battle damage, that helmet, the whole thing is actually quite impressive in hand. But that doesn't mean it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So let's just go in and have a look at exactly what we get. Okay, first off, he comes with his double-ended blade, and I have to say this is a very nicely painted, very detailed piece, and it's massive. You know when you just take something out of the box and you're like, whoa, this is huge. And it's very movie accurate, and well, I like the way they've got the whole bladed part here is actually a lighter colour to the rest of the blade, like he's just sharpened it. That's pretty cool. I also like all these little alien design flourishes on the blade here. Looks very high tech. The handle is pretty good. It actually looks like at some point he was probably able to separate it here, but that didn't actually happen in the film, which, you know, seemed logical to me, just to be able to snap them off and then dual fight with blades like this edition here. However, it is just sort of like a plain black piece on there. There doesn't seem to be much of a paint app on there, or if it is, it's one solid colour, so it would have been nice to actually get some fading and some chipping in that piece. But you know, maybe it wasn't like that in the film, so why would they do it? But then there are inaccuracies in the figure anyway from the film, and we'll get into that in a sec. We can see all the dirt and battle damage around the hilt and the handle here. Yeah, this is a very nice, impressive piece, and it should take up quite a lot of shelf space. Next up, he comes with a whole bunch of hands. He comes with relaxed hands, he comes with some expressive hands, he comes with 2 gripping hands, and he comes with 2 fisted hands. And all pretty much the same. Again, it's got that paint flecking inside the hand here. He's also got the chips and the battle damage around the gold pieces. There is some scratching on the top part of the back of the hand. And I have to say, the paint application on this Thanos is a little bit more vibrant than the original Infinity War version. The first one was really nice, but it was very purple. This guy has a lot more sort of a reddish pinkness hue going throughout the skin, so he looks a little bit more alive. It's strange to explain, but yeah, he does look a little bit more alive. And this is where a bone of contention for me lies. It's with this Gauntlet. It's very nice, it's very well painted as we'd expect. It's exactly the same as the Infinity War version. Details are amazing. The damage and the sort of scoring across the outside of the Mind Stone there is really good. The dirt building up inside the more creviced parts of the Gauntlet are really nice. However, not very movie accurate, is it? I mean, Did you see him wear this in the film Endgame? Some people have said they're going to use this as the first appearance of him in Infinity War. But if that's the case, then why are all the stones in there? At best, he should have 2 stones in there if he's going to be from Infinity War. But this guy is actually advertised as being from Endgame. The logo is on the base, so it's Endgame. He doesn't wear this. This irritated me quite a lot, simply because they're supposed to be getting these things as movie accurate as possible. And they had a heads up. They knew what was going on. Apparently, there was rumour that he would be wearing this, and then they sort of swapped it out at the last minute to suit the story. But still, this went up for pre-order in April 2019, so they had more than enough time to do a revised version of this and announce it. But for the Gauntlet as well, he also comes with an articulated hand. Again, all the stones in there, which wouldn't have happened in the movie at all. But yeah, some people actually just want him holding the Gauntlet, and I get that. And this is kind of a hybrid between the 2 films. It's kind of between Infinity War and Endgame, rather than actually being specifically Infinity War or specifically Endgame. One thing that they could have done to improve on this and make it a lot more palatable was let him do the snap. They could have actually sculpted one of these to be the snapping hand, and then that would have made everybody happy, and then people would have been able to pick it up and put it onto their Infinity War version Thanos. Because it baffles me to this day. We have 3 Hot Toys Thanos figures. 2 are already released, 1 is on the way. None of them have him doing his iconic snap. That's absurd. That's like Captain America not having his shield. It beggars belief. And what even surprises me to this day, even now, is that no third-party company has taken up the challenge and produced a hand doing the snap. It's easy money, isn't it? Everyone who's got a Thanos would buy it. I would. So maybe at some point we may get an accessory with Thanos doing the snap. But as of today, nothing has appeared. Considering Hot Toys had Hela grab Thor's hammer and smash it, and they actually made an accessory of her, and that was just like a brief moment as well in the film. But because they did that with her, I just don't understand why they still are reluctant to make a hand where Thanos does the snap. It's baffling. Okay, next up he comes with 2 head sculpts, and these are the exact same head sculpts as the Infinity War one, and that again irks me a little bit. Yeah, they have repurposed heads before, but this is a guy that we've only had 3 of these so far, and already the only one who comes with a brand new extra head is the battle damaged Endgame version of him looking defeated while sitting down. And I understand the expression, they didn't need to do that here, but I would have liked a quietly confident smirking head sculpt as well. He's got a very straight faced one, he's got a very gritting teeth aggressive one, so why couldn't we have had a smirking one? You know, that sort of cocksure attitude that he has at the start of Infinity War and going into Endgame. He just has that slight smile. Maybe even a bloody one where he actually has a bit of blood across his face there, because Tony Stark actually draws blood. Yeah, I know that's an easy fix with one of these heads, but it's something Hot Toys could have done. And then of course we get Thanos' helmet. And this, I have to be honest, is really nice. I really like all the scraping and the scoring across the top here. All the paint flecks across here like it's old and battered and rusted. It looks really, really good. And it works and fits really nice onto the head. Partly I'm a little bit, I think this sort of sticks out a little bit too much either side of the head, you know, but I understand they didn't want to scratch the head up or the face. So when you put this helmet on him, it does sit a little bit away from the chin. It's not a big deal, but yeah, it's not as tight and as flush to the head as I would like. But other than that, this is very impressive and it looks fantastic on the figure. Okay, one of the things I do prefer on this Thanos is the paint application on the skin. There's a lot more flecking going on. There is a slight red hue mixed in with the purple that, I don't know, it just brings him to life a little bit more, and it brings out some of the scars on his face and his details just by a fraction, but it is there for you to see. And also one of the things that I really, really do appreciate on this is the armour has a lot of different paint and weathering moments on There is some scoring, there is some different paint applications here. There's like a blue and a red sort of mixing together there that makes it look like it's sort of rusted and maybe even carbon scored. Like, this thing has seen some wars, and I do like the fact that they have used like a rose gold to separate different pieces of the armor to give it some real nice detail. And we can see that they've actually gone in here and added a little bit of a sort of a reddishy purple hue to the edges. There is lots of scratches going on in this, and it is amazing. And I also really appreciate that these shoulder gauntlets are in actual fact magnetic. Coming in, we can see the details in this. Lots of scoring, lots of scratches. Yeah, and it just sticks on there. So if you wanted to, you can take this off, articulate the arm, and then put it back on when you're finished to avoid scratches. However, that is one of the downsides of this guy. It's the exact same on the Infinity War Thanos. The horrible seams on the arms when they're bent, and with this forearm gauntlet here starting to dig into the skin, I have a funny feeling that would scratch over time if you're posing the arm bent quite a lot. And also the articulation on the arm isn't amazing. You can kind of get into 90 degrees, but you're really putting the figure at risk if you do that. Another thing I really appreciate on this guy is the really sort of soft rubber loincloth he's got. It is very malleable, it moves around quite a lot, and it won't get in the way when you're actually trying to pose him with the feet a little bit out and bent. And also underneath there is a very stretchy lycra undersuit, which will give him a little bit more articulation, considering that he used to have sort of like corduroy trousers on, but he doesn't have them on here, which is good because all this armour is going to cause some sort of hindrance in the articulation. So the fact that they've swapped out the corduroy trousers for this sort of lycra suit really will help bring some of that articulation back into the figure. And if we come down to the feet, we can see there is some nice ankle pivot there. It's not a lot, but there is a little bit there. And he's also got some nice toe articulation. Tap that foot, dude, tap that foot. Another thing I really appreciate on this guy is he has a much nicer base than the Infinity War version. It's a slightly more space saving stand, but it's also got a far much bigger crotch grabber on there. I like the design on the actual stand itself. Nice sort of big Avengers logo with the big cloudy sort of motif on there. Nice glossy Avengers Endgame logo there. And then we've got Thanos the Avengers. I would have liked this to be like a metal plate. I know everybody says it, but go back to the metal plates. It actually adds an era class to these that you don't normally get, and I thought it was a much better option than this print on the front. And they've got a new proprietary gripper on the bottom here, so when you're actually putting this on, you can slide it on like so, and it clicks into place, and it's secured down the bottom here as well. It sort of clamps onto the bottom here, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, neither is Thanos. I won't be displaying him with the stand, unfortunately. There's just not enough height. Once I put him here, he's already pretty much touching the top of that glass as it is. So yeah, he's just going to stand on his own. But he is one of those figures that will confidently stand on his own, no problem. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. Okay, so here he is in just sort of like a battle pose. I haven't done a hell of a lot of articulation on this guy. He's not going to be a really dynamic figure for your displays. He's going to stand in the background looking all imposing for most people, unless they've got like a really big dedicated area for him. Sadly, I don't. But this is one of the poses you can get him into. Slight bending in the arms, you can get the shoulders up quite a lot. I really like that the waist twist, you can turn him a little bit to the side. You can get those knees bent in a comfortable way. The foot articulation is better than I thought it would be. He can pivot quite a bit. The thigh joint is really good. I really like this sort of lycra undersuit. It allows for flexibility, especially with all this armor on. This gives you some freedom and it still looks great. I really like all this sort of soft loincloth area. This allows you to actually move these out of the way pretty easy to get him into that pose. And the head can turn left and right a generous amount, and he can look up quite a bit, but the restriction comes when he's up to the side and the head comes down. The armor around the neck restricts it a little bit, but it's still quite an impressive piece. Overall, other than the niggles that I've got with it, it's still it's a hot toy. It's a great hot toy. I really like it. It's still impressive on the shelf, but I'm still irritated at the fact that we have now had 3 Thanoses by Hot Toys and none of them can do the snap. That's tragic. Yes, the Nano Gauntlet on the Endgame Battle Damage version can do the snap, but that's not the iconic snap from the Infinity War Gauntlet. This Gauntlet is a thing that changed everything in the MCU, so it should be represented properly with our figures. I am also surprised that no third-party company has taken up this challenge. The stand is a way better improvement on the old stand. I really like this oversized crotch grabber. It really helps with actually getting this guy posed securely on the shelf. I'm not going to pose him on it simply because the height on my shelf will not allow for me to fit him on this. However, it will be great for other people. My only niggle is that really needs to be a metal plate to give it a slight more era class. Maybe even like a slightly sort of gold style plate. That would have been even cooler with this guy. But as I've said, I sound like a scratch record now. From between first batch and second batch, 8 months is too damn long. I should have got this guy a very long time ago. However, such is the world today. Delays are happening across the board, and I guess we're just going to have to accept it. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. If you do me a favour now, if you can get the fuck out of my cave, I'm going to finally start my endgame display. Thank God. Bye bye guys.